All right. So I'm here with, we're having a discussion. It's me and my buddy, Jerry the Jitterbug. What's up, Jerry?
Not much. Mike has everything going.
All right. So everybody knows Jerry. They're probably just going, who the hell am I? Well,
I don't think so.
I'm Night Tiger, Mike Smith. And if you really don't know who I am, we're going to...
Watch Night Tiger Comics.
Tiger Comics.
Tiger Comics. Night Tiger Comics. Tiger Comics. What? Night Tiger Comics. Night Tiger Comics.
Yeah.
You never know what you're missing. All right, so welcome anybody. I don't know if we're gonna put it up later. I was thinking about editing it and then putting it up. A conversation with the Jitterbug. We've been talking for a while about some books. Jerry's saying, "Send me some books. Send me some books." So I just had some in mind, and we decided we were going to do a video chat. We've been talking about that for about 2 or 3 months now.
That's right.
And I'm well aware if I send these books in, they're not going to be done right away, and that's fine with me. So this is so I want to send you some books for payment. Here's one of them.
Ooh, that's very nice, Mike. I don't have that one. Master Comics. Very nice.
So Jerry loves the Fawcett,
Sure
Captain Marvel Jr., Captain Marvel, Mary Marvel. After those two, you said you wanted one of these. So here's the
very generous. Very nice, Mike. Beautiful.
Electric chair. And it needs some work, so you'll have fun with it.
I'll do a series maybe in the future.
This is my third copy of this, and so I thought I'd send it to you if you don't. Concrete shoes.
Ah, that's a little crime right there. Concrete shoes. You making fun of me because I'm Italian with the concrete shoes?
And not only that, this is the reason I'm on my third copy is because every time I pressed this and left it in the press by accident.
Right.
So it is nice and flat.
Oh, I like flat.
Got just a little crispy, and the staples. All the pages came apart from the staples.
Oh, that's fine. We can maybe take care of that, Mike. Thank you.
And then this book here is The Big Boy.
Ooh, that's beautiful, Mike.
And this is complete. It's just got a split cover. That's it.
Oh, that's
complete.
Mike, we'll talk about that Wiz Comics later on private chat, but that is an awesome book.
Well, this is Jerry. I understand what you do take, and I saw your other video. It takes a lot of time. People don't realize, and that's your time.
It takes probably sometimes to do a book like Roger's book. I'm not calculating it, but I'm averaging maybe 30 hours, 40 hours, maybe sometimes more. And it definitely does take a long time to do the work, but it's a labor of love, Mike, and especially doing it for you and Roger, it makes it that much better because you're my buddies, and I really enjoy doing it. But Mike, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it, and I'm looking forward. Show me the books. Let's see what we're going to work on.
I have to say, I appreciate your work, your effort, everything you do. And I realize that it takes a lot of time. And sometimes that's your family time that it's taking.
It does.
And it's your choice. But, I don't want to take advantage of you. I hope you know that.
100. Didn't I do a book for you before? Just one book I did, right? Yeah. Actually, I did 2 books. The first one I did for Roger, and it ended up in your wall. I think I see it in the back there, maybe behind you. The Silver Street.
Just for dramatics. Oh, I wanted to show you this other thing also before we get into that. This amateur restoration on this book that I bought a long time ago. I thought maybe you'd be curious to see it. Well, anyways, so I want to pull this out. Before we get in the books that I'm asking Jerry to work on and look at them, let's look at some of the other stuff that now this is this your first book on YouTube that you did on camera?
I think I did a few, maybe 1 or 2 prior to that leaf casting, but that's one of the major first ones that I did.
If you want to make any comments about this book,
a whole series that I did, and my skills increased significantly since doing that book.
Now, on this one, you leaf casted every page or just a few?
No, I leaf casted the cover, And then I also leaf casted a lot of the interior pages as well. But with that book, that was one of my full submersion leaf casting where I actually put it in the water. Yeah, that's leaf casted, the centerfold. So I put that book completely in water. I don't do that anymore. That's my first prototype of the leaf casting table. And my skills and my tools increased significantly since doing that book. So I would have leaf casted that book if I did it today from the interior of the cover. Or maybe I did. I truly forgot, Mike, but it's holding up. So that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. And I tell people when I show them, I said, you'll never see this issue this clean ever.
I'm glad. I was very happy with the way the book.
I mean, I'd be shocked if I ever seen one as nice. I know it's conserved, but still, it looks really nice.
Roger is good luck for me because now with the Avon book that I'm doing for him, I honestly think, and I have a few uploads that I'm ahead. Whenever I do books on YouTube, I'm probably about 4 or 5 videos ahead, and that book is coming out really, really beautiful. So it's going to turn out very well because it was a brittle cover.
This has some amateur restoration. I don't know if you can see it. They painted up here on the cover. I don't know why.
Okay.
It's for an amateur, it's done pretty well. I mean, unless you really get it close to your eyes, you're not going to see it.
Right.
It looks like they put some archival tape here, and they did a nice job. You can barely see it.
Okay. You see, I'm anti-archival tape personally, and if I would have done that book, I would have just took the extra step of taking the staples out. And if it needed archival or some type of adhesive to keep the cover together, the spine, you always do it on the inside.
You can see there's a piece of tape right there.
Okay. Is the tape also on the outside, Mike? Because it's difficult to see.
Yeah, I think so. It is. They did a nice job. I think they blended the tape in with paint also because I can feel it with my finger.
Okay, is that one of the books that you would want me to work on?
No. This is just something I wanted to show you. I was going through the books yesterday.
No, it looks from the camera, it looks like it was.
I paid $100 for that.
You can't go wrong.
Even I think that's a good deal. I tried to get them down. But anyway, so being your friend, let me get you back in here. I want to give you your opus.
Oh, okay. I'm curious.
Something that could be your next masterpiece, one that is going to challenge you.
Okay, I like challenges.
And that will be this book here. And I did pull it out yesterday. It is, I don't know how to grade like a page as brittle. I took a page out and I waved it like this to see what would happen. And it didn't fall apart.
Okay.
But it's chipping. As I move the book around, little pieces are falling off.
Yeah, that's not good. Is it just the cover that's breaking apart?
The whole book.
Okay.
Is that something that you think you want to challenge yourself at?
If you want me to do it, I will do it.
I do. Let me pull this out.
So what we need to decide after me looking at it is with the witchcraft book, if the pages are really brittle, I'll put a whole sheet of the Tengojo paper over the interior of the actual cover. Does it have a back cover, Mike?
It does.
Okay. Send it over.
It's completely split all the way through. But this is a book that if I could just read it, and like this other, like the Silver Streak. It's a Schomburg cover.
Ooh. It's an awesome cover, Japanese.
It's a pretty tough book, especially to get it in grade. Probably above 2.
Is it a rare book, Mike?
It's semi-rare, I would say. I mean, it's not easy. You probably see this book maybe once a year or something for sale. It's not really scarce.
So is it a book? Let's get the parameters set here. Is it a book that you want to take and you want to read and you want to thumb through the pages and you want to do it where you are not scared that it's going to flake, break apart.
Really? Yes. It's one of those books, and you know what I'm talking about because you're a Golden Age collector, that I want to keep in my collection till the end.
Okay. Okay.
So it's one of those books.
Okay. So I know exactly what to do. This is going to be a pure conservation with aesthetics in mind, and the goal of you being able to thumb through it, read it, put it down on the table without it falling apart and deteriorating.
Exactly.
That's no problem. It will be a pleasure for me to do that. And it's going to be the same, if not maybe a little different than what I'm doing for Roger's book now. And this new method that I have is spot on. I'm very proud of it, and it will be a pleasure to do that, Mike. I'll take.
Okay, well, that's not it. That's not it, though.
Keep
one more.
That's fine, Mike. I told you it will be.
This one is not quite. Would not quite need the extensive work as that one.
Okay.
Let's see what it is. I think it's all attached. And probably dry cleaning. Oh, well, you'll decide. I mean, you're the expert on this.
Semi-expert.
Nazi cover, another Schomburg.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And it had tape. I removed, I think, as much as I could without damaging the book.
Okay. Was it cellophane tape, regular Scotch?
Yeah, cellophane.
Man, that backing is a common advertisement. Fawcett used that advertisement a lot with the desk there. That's the same back cover Fawcett used as well.
Now, I did perform a little surgery. It had extensive tape, and I got it off here.
How'd you remove it, Mike?
It was mostly dry, and then I used a steamer for the rest.
Does it feel tacky at all?
No.
Okay.
Completely dry. Let's open it up. It's got major tape right there.
Oh, okay.
Attached. But the interior looks like pretty tight. It even doesn't have too much of a spine roll either.
Well, that doesn't matter because we're going to make one cover out of those two covers. Black Terror. Now, are the staples rusted or is it?
I don't think so. They don't look that bad. There's an extra one at the top, so we'll have to remove that. Look at this story, The Ghost.
Ooh, very cool.
No, they don't look like they're really rusted. It's not destroying the paper.
Okay. Send it over, Mike.
Doctor Strange.
That is cool.
What do they call these pants? You know?
Those pants? They look like equestrian pants, like for horseback riding.
Yeah. They're like, I don't know. I guess that was the big thing back then.
Sure. It is crazy thumbing through the Golden Age books. And a lot of the books, it's funny, Mike, you know this, when you read through it, you think, oh, back then, a conservative time in the 40s and stuff. A lot of it was risque when you look through it, the way they drew the women and things of that nature. It's funny to see. That's awesome. That looks like a nice, fun project, Mike. And
yeah, I'm trying to imagine. I dropped the cover.
And I don't know if you saw in one of my recent uploads how I was saying how I like conservation, but actually it was in Gary B's in the hot seat. I like conservation, but it's not one of my favorite things to do for the book.
Right.
If it's a big numbered book, I think I'd rather have it raw in a CGC case than conserved. But if someone wants to read the book like you and Roger, I'm all in doing it. And it's really going to be a fun project because I know you guys don't want to send it off to get it entombed in a CGC case. Don't worry about those little pieces. Those are not going to come back. Is it graphic?
No.
Yeah.
Feels like it's tape.
So
I'm going to put it in a bigger bag, and that way it will keep the book a little bit.
Yes. Now, Mike, I saw that you also sent me some pictures on. You texted me. What was that?
That was this book here, and it's got a white cover, so you can't really see the bug chew on it. Which Where is that book?
What is that? An action or a Superman?
It's an action. Oh, I put it here. Boom, 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 boom. Hold on. Where did I put it? Oh, here. Wait. Here it is. Did you see that one?
Ooh, that's a nice book. It's in good.
That's newspaper reprints of Joey Siegel and Joel Schuster's strip.
That looks like it's in very nice shape.
I think it's no back cover.
Oh, okay. Well, if you find a back cover, we can marry it.
I'm not worried. That book's not really that anything, but this is pretty cool. I want to get anytime I can find a golden age where they're shooting him, or he's bending steel, or he's catching a bullet. Those are the covers I want to find.
How is the spine on that book?
Oh, let's see. It was only $50.
That's fine.
I've shown, and then people go, "You only paid $50 for that," but they don't. You can't see that damage because it's a white cover. But I think the spine's pretty good as far as the parts that are there. You can see it's split.
Is it attached to the book? With
Yeah.
Staples?
It's is it one staple or two? I'm sure it's two because it's older. Yeah. The centerfold looks pretty tight.
Now, is that flaking apart, that cover, or it's...
No, I guess it's bug chew. Here's some Zatara's dad, Zantana.
Yup. It is bug chew, and one of the books, actually the Action Comics 66 that I just did, CGC, specified the bug. They said it's silverfish.
Oh,
so
and there's the staples are nice and tight. Yeah, I'll see one of those bastards running around, and I'll have to catch him and kill him.
The silverfish, that's what they said the bug chew was, how they know. I don't know, maybe silverfish is one bug that likes to eat newsprint. Now, do you want to do anything with this, Mike?
Nah.
You sure?
If I do, it'll be down the line because I want you to concentrate on those.
Okay, so there's two there, Mike. Is there any other? Because I'll do another one.
Oh man.
I'll tell you what, Mike.
I'll have to think about that because like I just said in the beginning, I don't like taking advantage of people.
No, but we can do it. You're giving me wonderful books.
Okay.
I'll tell you, why don't you surprise me? You think about it. And if there's...
I already know I'll throw one in, but it's only going to be a dry clean or something. I don't want to have to.
Mike, I have to decline that respectfully. Okay.
Why?
Because the dry clean is, and I know there's a lot of guys who do it. Okay. I would like a little something more challenging than the dry clean. Do you understand? It's like bringing a car to a car restoration guy, and you're like, "Oh, could you change the oil?" That's how I equate it now.
I saw a nice SS Chevelle.
What year do you?
It had to be like a 72, I guess.
Yes, 72 was pretty much the last good year of the Chevelles.
The Cutlass, the Skylark.
Yep. 72, and then 73 after. 72, I think, is the last year for all muscle cars.
How about a 69 Ford Fairlane?
I would say that's more of a cruiser, right? Not a muscle car.
My buddy used to have when we were in high school, and it had a broken frame, and that thing still, we got it. We went everywhere with it.
Oh, yeah. So I see a lot of little bits and pieces are on your desk there. So Mike,
that's that one piece that you said don't worry about it. I don't even know where it came from. I don't even know what it is.
I have a cup in my workshop filled of all little pieces that I just put in there from books and tape. So, Mike, if you have another book.
Well, hold on. This is the one I was going to do.
You were going to do it.
I was going to remove the cover and soak it.
Is this the one that we discussed, the first appearance of the Black Panther? Or no?
No, this is the one that has the super baby in it.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Cisco Kid. I don't know this. It looks already pretty much faded from water over here. I don't know if this will be the book, but this is one of the ones I was gonna soak just to see what the cover would look like. It's got rusted staples. It's pretty. We talked about this, but another one just popped up on eBay. I don't know if it's in. I don't know the shape of it, but it's more money than I paid for this one.
Do you know how much they're asking?
I think 100 or something.
Okay.
I paid half that for this.
So what is your goal with that? Just to make
the more I look at it, Jerry, the more I'm thinking I should just leave it.
Right.
Because it's got some really weird stuff going on with it, and I don't think it would look better because it's already pretty much like it was in water.
Well, sometimes books have a patina to it, and you leave it. If you're uncomfortable with it, if it smells acidic, and you think that the paper is deteriorating, you can always do an aqueous strict water, because when I do the aqueous bath just with plain water, and for you would use your filtered system in your house or distilled water, because Florida water I wouldn't be using on the book, you should see all the dirt and acid that comes out just by soaking it. And if you go on a lot of the conservation sites, a lot of the guys and women who do it, they'll just soak it in distilled water, and that revitalizes the fibers of the book and cleans it. So it puts a lot of life back into it.
I soaked that Captain Marvel with the Santa Claus and Mary Marvel.
Yes.
And it looks worse. Because like you said in that one video, all those lines came out showing in the book.
Well,
graphics.
It does. And a lot of times people look at my uploads and they're probably like, really? You did a service to the book? It looks worse. But that's all the dirt that you just said, Mike. And I'm glad you experienced it, because the book is 70, 80 years old. That's a lot of dirt. The water probably never touched the cover. So that's the dirt going into all of the little crevices and color breaks. Now, did you use any detergent or anything when you cleaned
it? Maybe a small amount of dish soap.
Okay. Well, it just cleaned it, and you'll see all of the lines that come out. And it's a cost-benefit analysis when you do it, because do you want the dirty book filled with impurities, or do you want a clean book that's going to show its age? So I would like to see it if you're saying it looks
here. I got it right here.
Okay.
I was kind of like, it made me feel like I don't want to wash the cover again.
Well, did you take before photos of it?
Well, I have the ones from the eBay listing.
Okay, but what I would recommend that you do, if you are going to do it next time, is take a before photo, lay the book down flat, and put the book into the screen of the camera so you can have a real good reference. Right. And a lot of times what you'll see after you clean it, if you go, oh, gosh, I see a lot of lines now. If you focus in on the picture before you cleaned it, you'll see the lines there. You'll see it. And you'll feel better, because it's not like you did it and you damaged the book.
I'm going to get bigger. You can see right here.
I see it.
All
that could have been there, and I would just check out the listing and see. And it happens. It comes cleaner, and you didn't do any.
It's a beautiful book. Even the graphics make it.
It looks fine. And if
it's complete, it's got those things there.
No, I would be happy to have that book. But the thing is that when you start messing around with water, it does happen. And you have to be careful because not with that year faucet, but with the newer faucets,
Mm-hmm.
the ink they must have used wasn't as strong, I feel, and did not become water insoluble.
Well,
Because when
yeah, because figure the company was probably just hanging on, and they're like, okay, well, we got to cut costs. We're barely in
with the
business.
50s, with the
Yeah.
50s faucet, the 40s faucet, they're like a tank, man. They're very strong. But a lot of the faucet books, once I introduce water, I'll see the reds come up and the blues come up because the ink does liquefy at times. And it happens, but like I said, it's a cost benefit analysis. Whether you want to clean the cover, you have to decide if you want to do it. I hear some feedback now.
I don't hear anything.
Okay. So, Mike, I am very happy to work on those books for you.
Okay, I'll be sending them today.
I truly appreciate the gifts that you're giving me to work. I think it's a fair trade. I really appreciate it. And what I would ask, especially that Wiz Comics, I have number 10. That is the earliest Wiz.
And I got all the other ones out, and I'm like, this is the only one I can part with.
That is perfect, Mike. That is perfect. So, so what we discussed is not going, you're going to hold back on doing those things.
So I'm going to be sending this as a gift.
Thank you, Mike. That is one of the best gifts that I had in a long time.
And then this one.
Beautiful.
And I had to find a second faucet because.
No, that's great, Mike. Truly appreciate. Very generous, and I'm going to take extra care. I always do extra care, and you see with my uploads, I work.
And then these are the ones that I want Jerry to work on. So Thrilling Comics, what number is that? Number 30, number 18. And this is from 1941.
Which one would you prefer to be started first?
Well, the one I want to see done is this one.
Okay.
And this is from 19, I forget, this must be 1940, I think.
So
some early stuff.
So I'll do a run through. What we're going to do first is we'll take the cover off. We're going to give it a pure water cleaning, okay? Aqueous cleaning. We're going to see how it basically interacts with water. And there's no way around it. Water is going to hit that cover. Because if we're leaf casting it, water has to hit it. So what we'll do is we'll clean it. I'll lay it flat between my glass presses. We'll make it nice and smooth, nice and flat. Then what I'll do is I'm going to do a Tengojo wrap on the back, the whole back cover, okay, with methyl cellulose. And you'll see it will affect very slightly the graphics on the interior. The only thing that it impacts is the blacks become less black. It's a little haze on the blacks, but it's well worth it because you'll be able to take that cover and you can fold it, you can roll it. It's going to be like it's from the factory. Then I'll make a special pulp and I'll get the pulp set up to match the cover as best as I could. We'll leaf cast it and then we'll let it sit between my presses probably for about a week, maybe longer. And do you still see me, Mike?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, then what we'll do is we will then work on the inside, and I'll get that book beautiful where when you get it back, you can go like this, thumb through it. You can go through the book like it's going to be a brand new book, and you don't want to send it to CGC.
Mm-mm.
What about the second one? No CGCs. Okay, well, I'm gonna do a little plug for what's coming up because our Captain Marvel Adventures number 27, the dual ones that I sent in, there's going to be some developments in a week or so, 2 weeks when I upload it, that is going to establish, I feel, that CGC was watching the uploads that I did in relation to those books. And there is, or maybe there is, a rat in the community that loves to eat cheese.
Well, that rat owes me $150 because that's what this would be worth. It was a Blue Label.
Well, I don't.
It would be $150 worth more than it is now.
Sure. Well, it's going to be a fun upload, so we'll see what.
Oh yeah, and you know, I would, if you, I could suggest a title: "Dead to Rights," because now it's in. There's no disputes.
You know what? It could be, and I don't want to give too much of the upload.
How about this? You put Jerry the Jitterbug judge, and you have that music like on Judge Wapner and walking in your robe with the gavel. It's like it's all now.
It could be, or it could be that maybe the graders are just off, but I honestly don't think so. And that's enough. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. And not only that, but it's not like you're basing it on just one little thing. You get
I
in
like
your profession. You know, you gathered the evidence.
I did, and I like to gather it, and I like to be methodical, and I like to do it over time and get things to support what I am saying. And I think this is the final nail in the coffin that supports what I've been saying all along, because I just love on Instagram and YouTube, there's the people that comment and they say that they think that I'm nuts. They think I'm crazy, saying, oh, CGC is not watching your upload. CGC is not doing anything. You think you are so great where CGC is watching you. It's not that. It's that I pushed a few people back, and they don't like what I'm doing. They don't like that I'm showing how to do these things. And I'm getting
exactly. No, that's what I wanted to mention. There are, I guess, there are other channels that do what you do.
I don't see.
I've never seen them.
Casting,
but you have this pizzazz.
Thank you, Mike. And I'm seeing now on Instagram there are a few other Instagrammers who are. I've never seen it before, but now I've been seeing a lot. Tengojo paper that, oh, I fixed this spine or I fixed this rip with Tengojo paper and methyl cellulose. And I think to myself, oh, okay, that's
Let's see
good.
Who's going to do that next. Let's see who's going to take that from you.
Sure. So whether they researched it, whether they watched my uploads and they're doing it now, I think I'm providing a foundation for people to learn, and I'm all for it. It's great. And they are doing what I'm showing how to do, and they're just showing the results, which is great. I guess when someone utilizes the methods that I'm trying to explain how I do it, that's great. I love it, and that's why I do it.
Before I met you, and I was researching leaf casting for a couple of years, but it was like taboo. You couldn't find anything on it. I would go online, and they discuss the books they worked on, but never tell you what the procedure is. And you got those other Instagrams and some other people, and these other people, nothing against them, but mostly they're like, look what I can do.
Right.
We're like, look what you can do. And that's what everybody loves about you. It's not about what you can do. It's like, here, you can do this yourself.
Oh, thank you, Mike. That's great. And you can. And if you just took, maybe I'll do an upload, because people are asking me how I made that leaf casting table. It was probably maybe about $30 of parts and materials from Home Depot, and I constructed it, and it works like a charm. I think
I got the container. You cut the hole in it. You got the toilet flangers.
Toilet flange I used, and that I don't know if, I think with my leaf casting, I don't know if I used a toilet flange. I used a shower drain because it's smaller, and then I just used 2-inch pipe, and I connect the vacuum on, and once I put that suction. And I really realized how much suction it actually draws. And that's why I put the perimeter around to create a vacuum. And I just uploaded a Reels on Instagram, and I sped it up a little bit.
I saw that. I
Ronnie
watched it.
James Dio that I did, Holy Diver with the music. We like Dio, don't we, Mike?
Yeah.
And I sped it up, and I saw when it was fast how much the actual grate moves, and you see it once I shut that vacuum off, or once I move the perimeter, it goes.
So you mean it's like,
yeah, and it moves up. So there's a lot of suction, and I would never do full submersion leaf casting. I would never do it again. And the reason why I would not do it again is because you can't control it. When I built that leaf casting table and I used that suction drawer, and I can use my salad dressing container or squeeze bottle, I can control it and I can put that pulp wherever I want it, wherever I want to put it, and it works wonders. And I'm really dialing in because I think we are moving away when you do leaf casting where the full submersion just filled in the voids in the paper when it's sucked down, when the water reduced. I don't think that's a good way of doing it now because you're not fortifying the spine. It's just filling in the hole. So if you have a weak spine, it's still going to be weak and it's not conserving the book. When I do the leaf casting and you see this, I'll do the whole spine and I'll go over the existing papers. That's why I put my clear plastic on each side to make a channel so the whole spine will be leaf casted. And there's other professional conservators and restorers online and on Instagram, not mentioning any names, but if you look at their pictures, they do the same exact thing. They fill the whole spine in. They're not just filling in a little hole here and there because they know if you're conserving a book, fill it in so it can be used and it won't fall apart.
So analogy, like a mechanic, I already got the top part of the motor off. I might as well fix this over here, even if it doesn't need it. I could fortify it.
That's right.
I'm already here. I might as well do it. Otherwise, you got to take the whole thing apart later to redo it.
It's a beautiful analogy, and it's right on point. If you're going to do it, if you're adding paper, you might as well add paper to make it where it's
like my neighbor was a mechanic, and I needed what was it? The piston. And I sold this car to my brother-in-law. I bought it for him, and it started leaking oil. So he went and his buddy put a new piston in, and then it worked for 2 weeks. And he goes, no, it's still leaking just as bad. And my neighbor said, well, that's because you can put a new piston in, but you got to fit it. It's got to be fit just right. Otherwise, it's no good anyway.
Sure.
So he sanded that thing down, and he'd say, look, you got to sand it, look at it, put it in, check it, take it out, sand it, keep doing it until you get it right. And I was like, wow. He goes, if you take this to a mechanic, they're just going to charge you for a whole new piston and pieces, and they don't care about that.
It's plastic gauge, it's called, for engines, because I rebuild engines too, and I have. So the tolerances are very specific. So what it is, it's like a strip of, it looks like silly putty. So what you do is you put it in, say, if you're putting in a new piston, you have the piston, then you have the connecting rod that goes to the crank that the pistons go up and down. So you have to put this plastic gauge in, and you have to torque down all the bolts to the specifications, and then you have to redo it. It's a lot of work to rebuild an engine, and you look and you see how much it's spread, and it will tell you the tolerances. So if they're off, you have to adjust it. It's not just bolting things and bolting it together and thinking it's going to work. If you get a tolerance off a hair, not even a hair, a quarter of a hair, the engine's going to wear and it's going to blow. It's a very precise way of working. And the reason why I said to you, Mike, before with the dry cleaning was I knew an engine rebuilder that used to rebuild engines, and I wanted to bring him when I was younger in high school, my car. He was one of the best engine guys. I go, could you change my oil? And he looked at me. He used to wear like the mechanic's uniform, like he was a doctor, very meticulous. And he goes, you want me to work on cars? And he got offended, where he was a specialist with engines, and that's what he did. And that's what I want to try to get my working on books to be specialized. I like with the leaf casting, maybe stain removals. That stuff is good. Dry cleaning is fun, but I want to try to do more.
So, like with the how do you say
Tengojo paper? Yes, it's Japanese.
You're developing a specialized way of concern.
Sure.
And so we're gonna watch the community. We're gonna see who starts to copy you in probably 6 months down the road.
If they do,
that's the best flattery, though.
It is flattering, but it would be nice if they, you know what? I'm not even going to say. I'm going to say maybe a little acknowledgement, because maybe they didn't get it from me. Maybe they didn't.
Maybe you could copyright that procedure.
I don't. Maybe with the leaf cast, I don't think I could, but I don't think I've ever seen it with leaf casting. If you go on YouTube and you research document conservation outside of comics, maps, old deeds, old artworks, they do use the Tengojo paper, or they like to use the mulberry paper. There's all different ways of.
So you're researching conserve on stuff outside comic books and bringing it into the comic book.
Correct, and that's how I learned how to do the leaf casting. Because if you go on YouTube and you type in leaf casting documents, other than my uploads, which there's a lot, because I always put the hashtag leaf casting, you'll have museums in Europe, you'll have museums in the United States, in Japan. They're very big using leaf casting methods. So that's where I learned, and I drew from a bunch of different videos and uploads, and that's how I created my leaf casting methods. And the leaf casting process was invented by the Russians. The Russians, I believe, invented the first leaf casting table. I'm 98% sure of this. I remember reading it in the late or the mid 80s during the Cold War. So in Russia, they're the first to do the leaf casting method, at least with the table and the machine. I'm sure someone did it prior to that, but it's very similar to, you ever look how people make paper at home? It's pretty much the same process. They use screens, they use water, they suck down the pulp, and they make paper, homemade paper. You're just applying it to print that's already manufactured to fill in the gaps.
I watched my neighbor here. His daughter got in an accident, and the insurance totaled the car, and he bought it from the insurance company. And I went over and watched him as he drilled holes next to each other and started pulling the front end little by little out and out until you couldn't even tell. The car looked like it was brand new.
Sure. That's body work, man. That's how you do it. You pull out the dents. Especially now, mechanics and body work guys are having really, really a hard time because you can't get parts. Mm-hmm. And because of, I don't know, maybe supply chain, maybe oil prices. We're not going to go to a political discussion, Mike, because if you and I start talking about it, we'll lose half of our subscribers probably. So I'll
lose my mind.
Yes, you have to try to tune out, and I'm tuning out, and I try to make things a little bit funny when I do my uploads, half a tank of gas. But it's hurting. It's hurting a lot of people. And you're in good shape, at least with heating your home, Mike, because you're in Florida.
That's what they're saying. This winter is going to be bad for people, because you think about having to fuel your car every week, but I know up there where it gets cold, you're heating your house every day.
Sure. And what it is that when I fill up my oil tank, it's going to be $800 to $1,000, and I go through an oil tank maybe a month and a half every time it fills up in the winter. And that high price is because of the oil per gallon. What it is now, it's insane. And I just don't think that people in Washington get it. They're trying.
Jerry, I wouldn't be so naive. I think they get it. Let's move off this. But like you said, you and I can talk about this privately.
Sure.
But yes, but I'm just saying, watching you and what you do is so fascinating. Like I'm trying to, like my neighbor, I'm not a mechanic, but when he shows me this is what you got to do, I'm like, I want to watch, I want to see. I may not do it, but it's fascinating to learn that you can do stuff for yourself. Like leaf casting or mechanic work, it seems like intangible, like, oh, I can't do that. But until you go in and you try and fail, maybe once or twice, you're not going to be successful.
Failing is the best lesson. And believe me, I fail a lot when I do things. And it's a great learning experience. And if you just take your time and you're patient and you research, you can do anything that you really want, as long as you take your time and you're patient. Patience is the key thing. And if you're going to rush and you're not patient and you want it done quickly, what I do is not the path for you, because I think patience is the number one virtue in doing what I do, because you can't rush. You can't.
What I say, get a junk comic. And if you want to rush, but get something that you don't care if it's destroyed, and learn patience by trying to make it better.
Right. Learn patience. And believe me, I've worked on books in the beginning, and sometimes they don't turn out the way you want. And again, you're dealing with paper. So if you're putting paper in any form of liquid or water, it may react a little different, and it's beyond your control. And this is one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to do what I do for payment, because I don't want the obligation to someone to say, hey, listen, the book fell apart in water, because it could happen. But that's why, if you're doing this and you want to try, that Ramée paper is, I think, the number one tool that you need in your arsenal. Because going back, my first aqueous bath where I did the deacidification, it was, I think, the Fantastic Four, the first appearance of Adam Warlock, I guess, in the cocoon. I forgot what it is, the white cover. I really cleaned that cover up dynamite, but I didn't use Ramée paper. I didn't really know about Ramée paper at the time, so I was soaking the paper or the cover in a tub, and I messed it up because the color got scratched off because I didn't have a coat of Ramée paper to protect it. So again, I learned.
I hate that cover.
Yeah, and you know what? I sent that into CGC, and I did a lot of stuff on that book, and that came back a universal label. They didn't give me a conserved label. And that's what started the whole resentment in the comic community with a certain group of people, where I posted it, and then they were lecturing me that, oh, no, you should write notes, you should send it in. I want to say this to all the people who may be watching this. What are your notes going to do now when you send it in? Because CGC doesn't even put it on the label anymore. So
you know who you are? You're the Neil Adams of the conserve.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You're busting down the walls and breaking the rules.
Well, just get ready for the next few weeks. It's going to be a good upload that I'm going to put up, and it's going to be something where there's going to be some head scratching. And I think the upload that I'm going to put up, where I present my case, the doubters who doubted me may say to themselves, you know what? He may be right. And I can't make any other explanation for what I'm going to show in the future upload.
I have one question. So
Yes.
When you leaf cast, how do you remove the excess off the graphic?
Well, with the controlled leaf casting that I do with my suction table now, I get very little leaf casting.
And that's why you prefer to do it that way.
Correct. when we used to do the full submersion, a lot of times there would be leaf casting pulp residue on graphics. But now with my method that I use the squeeze bottle and I use the thin plastic sheets to cover the graphics, there's very little. So I'm precise.
Bleed over. Okay.
Right. But if you do get it on, when I'm done actually leaf casting it, and after my first blotting of the document, I can remove the Ramay paper. You have to wait a little bit before you remove the Ramay paper, because even though the Ramay doesn't stick, there's times that it does a little bit. So you don't want to disrupt the leaf casting. And then when it's still wet after blotting, if there is some pulp on graphics that I don't want it there, I'll just take my artist brush and I'll gently brush it off.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, and if I miss it and it's completely dry, what I'll do is I'll use my white eraser once it's completely dry, and I'll gently erase it off, and I can get it off.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like, I've been wanting to know that for a while.
Right. But that's why this method with the table that I have is key, the way you do it.
All right. Well, Jerry, I want to wrap this up because I got to keep it under an hour in order to pull it down and edit it.
Okay, that's great. I do have, it is the morning when we're filming this, and I do have court. I think I have a light. When I film, I have a light shining down because I'm in my office basement, and I don't have a very strong light. So I think I'm going to keep it like this when I speak to the judge. I'll put a tie on. I look a lot better. And I do.
Oh, that's why you're doing Zoom.
And I do put the sheet on. This is a sheet that I have in the back, and because I have a lot of files and I have sensitive things that I have to protect by attorney-client privilege. So that's one of the reasons why I have the sheet, because I don't want file names and things that come through, because I do have enemies. I'm like a superhero in the conservation world. So I don't want to give anything to my enemies to go against me. I have to protect my true
So
identity.
you're coming from your secret lair?
I am. And I always wanted to make like you, and it's one of my projects because I want to do a nice comic wall, and it will be one day that I will do it. But you know, Mike, there's a lot of projects that we have to do and just not enough time, right? Doesn't work like our real work get in the way a lot of times, right? It's tough.
I need to retire. I have one more question before I go. Have you ever watched Franklin and Bash?
No, I haven't. What is that?
Check it out. It's a show about lawyers. I'm watching it right now. It's the main guy is Zach from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, okay. You know what?
But it's got an all-star cast.
I have to be honest. I don't like watching lawyer shows because it is very hard because it's fake.
Yeah.
And
that's
when
why I like it, but I only watch certain ones because it's got to be written well. Because otherwise it's going to be the same thing in every show with lawyers. So it's got to be unique.
One show I did like when it was on, I don't even know if it's still on, Law and Order, like the older ones where they show it from the arrest to the trial. They're semi-accurate to a degree. It's pretty good.
They just came back with Law and Order, and I was watching it for a while, and then the assistant DA goes, well, if we can do this, we can actually arrest Trump for the January 6th or for what he was thinking or something. I'm like, I'm not watching this no more.
Another good show that I got a lot of tips from is My Cousin Vinny. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah. They talk about that all the time in Franklin and Bash.
Oh, they do? Oh, no.
They're big. Marissa, what's her name?
Tomei, yes.
Yeah.
Aunt May. Isn't she Aunt May in the new Spider-Mans? Yes.
Is that her?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's her. That's Aunt May when she's that came out probably in the early mid 80s maybe. So that's her when she's young.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go because like I said, in order to pull this down, it's got to be less than an hour, and we're almost there.
Okay, Mike. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on your channel. We'll talk later. Okay.
Good luck in court.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.